I'm James Swanwick. Welcome to the Alcohol Free Lifestyle Podcast, where you learn to live a life of health, wealth, love, and happiness.
Sometimes our members complete 90 days with us at Project 90, and they'll say things like, I feel like I've undergone Coach V's voodoo, or James and Sarah have brainwashed me. And we joke around and I say, well, your brain maybe needed a good scrubbing, and they agree. Welcome to the podcast, everyone. My name's Victoria English, Coach V, as they call me in the program. I'm the head coach here at Alcohol Free Lifestyle. When I share my stories about my drinking days, I have to admit that it is hard to believe that that was me, that I was so conditioned around my drinking that it took up so much mental and physical and spiritual and emotional space in my life. It wasn't voodoo, and I promise I don't practice that as a coach, but it is neuroplasticity. And so on today's episode, we're going to talk about the importance of 90 days. Yes, the first 90 days of living alcohol-free can be the toughest. They're also the 90 days that will change and maybe even save your life. Thanks for joining me today. Why is our program 90 days? Is it just some number that we picked out? No, it's not. Recovering from any sort of maladaptive behavior takes time. It's not a quick fix. And so if you've done things like Sober October or Dry December, and you find yourself back to your old drinking habits, there's lots of reasons why. One of them is your brain. Recovering from alcohol misuse is a complex process. It involves physical, emotional, psychological healing. The timeline varies from person to person, and there's lots of factors at play. But research shows that it takes at least 90 days of abstinence from alcohol for the brain to really start healing and begin to create new neural pathways. During those 90 days, you're going to feel really good in some ways, and in some other ways, you won't feel so great. That's why few people do it happily on their own. Maybe you've been able to what we call white knuckle 90 days in the past, or maybe you've done something because of a desired outcome. You wanted to go on a health kick for a few months so that you could look really good at that wedding or that class reunion. And so you didn't drink and you got through it. Getting through it, is that sustainable? Is that really what you want? If it's not, it's pretty likely that having some support and some coaching and some accountability will matter. It's also important to strive for something bigger than just not drinking and surviving. That's why our program, our company, is called Alcohol Free Lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. And by releasing alcohol and filling your life with other things of your choosing, chances are you can not only remain alcohol-free, but love your life without drinking. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? In the past, I was able to stop drinking for somewhat lengthy periods of time. I can't say that I was thrilled about it. Deep down, I missed it. I missed drinking. I missed the sense of ease it gave me in the beginning. So I spent a lot of time going back and forth, drinking and not drinking, trying to return to that sweet spot of just drinking enough that I felt that, let's be honest, the effects of the drug without the consequences. As I dug into the science around alcohol and around alcohol use disorder, which is a broad spectrum, I realized that my set point wasn't the of one or two drinks. My set point was always going to be more. Well, that left me at a crossroads, didn't it? And maybe you can relate. I couldn't imagine not drinking. I also couldn't imagine continuing to drink because it was becoming more and more painful. That's a big reason why I do what I do today, because if this was miserable, I wouldn't talk about it. I would just, I guess, keep white knuckling, or maybe I'd still be on that miserable merry-go-round, or maybe it would have really had its way with me. I don't like to think about that. So what happens during these 90 days? A lot. During the first stage of releasing alcohol, the brain is rewiring. It's rewiring its natural dopamine sources. That's the neurotransmitter that you hear us talk about a lot. It's kind of a buzzword these days. It also plays a crucial role in the brain's reward system. Alcohol hijacks that reward system. It feels so good so fast. And so when we stop, it does take some time for our brain to remember what feels good. So you might see that list of things to do instead of having a drink. Well, look, I'll be honest, they may not feel awesome in the beginning. Going for a walk, okay, you're not drinking, but what dopamine, right? That's normal. It takes time for those levels to be restored. And that period of waiting is when a lot of people give up and go back. They're like, you know what? I can't deal with it. I'm just going to have a drink so I feel good, even if it's for a little while. That's where the importance of support comes in. In our program, Project 90, you are with a small community. We're not huge, you guys. You get to know these people, and they're all like-minded. It's a selection process. That's why we don't just have a click here to join button. You're going to have so much in common with these folks. And everyone is kind of going through it in the beginning. Like, I don't feel all that great. I really miss drinking. I know it was terrible for me, but I miss it. It's okay to say that. Of course you do. You're going to have support and coaching and friends. Not only friends who are in that early stage with you, but friends who are at 60 and 80 days. You're going to see how they got through it and what they're doing. And most importantly, it's going to give you hope. It's one thing to hear James and Sarah and me talk about what our life is like now, but we haven't had a drink in years. It's another to talk to people who are in those first 90 days, who can say, yes, I know how you feel. I felt the same way. And guess what? It's getting better. That really matters. Community is a huge part of what we do. And so, after a while, those dopamine levels start to rise. And that leads to a decrease in the cravings for alcohol. Those white-knuckled, nail-biting, gripping the steering wheel cravings start to decrease. That is a win. So in the second stage of this 90-day process, the brain's white matter starts to regenerate. Well, why is that important? We want white matter, especially if, like me, you're middle-aged. White matter is a crucial component of the brain's communication system. It helps transmit signals between different parts of our brain. Alcohol misuse can damage white matter. In fact, there's so much research coming out that says even a little bit can impact our white and gray matter. What happens when our white matter is decreased? It leads to a lot of emotional dysregulation. That's why if you are on that merry-go-round, if you're in the cycle of drinking, even when you're not drinking, you find yourself high-strung, more reactive. Everything feels like a crisis, doesn't it? Man, oh man, do I remember those days. And you know what? When we're in that cycle and then we're trying not to drink, except our white matter is still decreased, everything feels like a trigger, doesn't it? I can still remember those days. I'd be alcohol-free. Maybe it's been a while, a couple of weeks, but boy, oh boy, anything could set me off. Traffic, something as silly as, oh God, I can't even remember, the dog's making a mess or missing garbage day, just anything. Someone saying the wrong thing. I took it the wrong way. Any of those things could set me off because I didn't have emotional regulation. And even those little things could send me back to either really dying to have a drink or going ahead and giving in. So again, who are you going to talk to when that happens? You can feel overwhelmed by it. You can feel powerless. You're not powerless, but it is an exercise in patience. And that's why having coaches and other people supporting you is so helpful. And hopefully this podcast, just understanding some of the science, will remove some of this personalization of your drinking. It does feel personal, doesn't it? You ask yourself, what's wrong with me? Why am I such a weirdo that I'm flying off the handle? And I think the only way to cope is through a drink. I get it. I was there. I thought, Victoria, what is wrong with you? There was nothing wrong with me. It was the alcohol doing what alcohol is designed to do.
Hi, this is James Swanwick, and we're taking applications for our 90-day and 365-day stop drinking programs. Clients are mostly executives, entrepreneurs, and investors who have tried unsuccessfully and repeatedly to stop drinking, but remain stuck in a frustrating cycle of stop, start, stop, start. Our programs are not AA, which has a reported 7% success rate. Our programs are not rehab, which has a reported 6% success rate. Our 90-day and 1-year programs involve a safe, fun, virtual community of high achievers with a process that boasts a scientifically proven 98% success rate of clients reaching at least 90 consecutive days alcohol-free. That's according to the University of Washington. We use the latest neuroscience and personal development processes to help rewire clients' brains around alcohol and minimize its importance in their lives. We will show you how to powerfully socialize with friends, family, and colleagues, what to say and how to say it so people don't mistakenly think you're an alcoholic or have a problem, and how to eliminate the temptation of returning to constant drinking so you break the stop-start cycle. To ensure client success, Project 90 can only accept 24 new clients each month. Some of those happy clients include John Keltner from California, who said, "I've lost 10 pounds." Susie Vaughan, a real estate broker in Tennessee, who said, "I've generated 20% more leads." Jessica Gaines from Kentucky, who says, "I've now got joy, focus, presence, and clarity." And Joe Worley from Michigan, who says, "My wife has the real Joe back." If you're an executive, entrepreneur, investor, real estate professional, attorney, doctor, and you're sick of the stop-start cycle and the damaging effects alcohol has on your health, happiness, and family, and you're ready to regain confidence, become more present with your spouse and children, reduce stress, anxiety, and irritability, sleep better, increase focus and productivity, and feel better quickly, you're invited to apply to become one of our 24 monthly Project 90 clients. Applicants can apply for an introductory interview by visiting alcoholfreelifestyle.com/project90. There's also a link in this episode's show notes. That's alcoholfreelifestyle.com/project90. Application interviews are limited and are conducted on a first-come, first-served basis. Okay, let's get back to the show.
It's all going to be okay. I've been where you are. So is James, so is Sarah. and hundreds of members who have graduated successfully from Project 90. The third stage of this 90-day deal involves the new habits, the new behavioral patterns. This is the stuff that can lead to long-term abstinence from alcohol. It's important because this is where you are gearing up for long-term success. We talk about new coping mechanisms, developing healthier relationships, starting with the relationship with yourself, and finding out what it is you really need. Because I'll tell you something, guys, if you're listening to this episode, you do have needs that need to be met. You don't need a drink. I know it feels that way. I remember thinking the only thing I need is a drink. No, there are needs that we all have, and you can meet them in ways that are healthy and good for you. And guess what? Over these 90 days, you practice those. You brainstorm with the coaches and other members, remembering what used to feel really good, what used to help you calm down before you became dependent on this drug. And you try them out, you try them on. Sometimes they don't feel great in the beginning, like I explained earlier. You might feel a little clunky, maybe a little dorky, like, what am I doing here? But you keep doing it, you stick with it. And that repetition is training your brain. And even if it feels clunky, you do it and you wake up the next day and you're not hungover. And whatever it was that was triggering you seems just a wee bit more manageable. What a feeling. That's making a deposit in your account. And your brain is learning that, hey, you know what? Maybe everything isn't perfect, but things do seem better, more solvable. The rough edges don't feel quite as sharp. It builds on itself because otherwise you wake up to the same old. Sometimes people on discovery calls will ask us, so can I drink a little bit during this program? No, you don't drink during this program. It's not because we're mean. It's because we are working with neuroplasticity. If you have these really lit up neural pathways that alcohol is fueling, and you're building these little baby new neural pathways that are healthier and moving you farther and farther away from drinking, you can guess that if you drink, those deeply ingrained neural pathways are going to light up like the Autobahn. Light, as soon as you have a drink. So it is important to not drink during these 90 days. What happens after 90 days? Well, look, if you decide that you want to try moderation, if you want to go back to drinking, I'm guessing the liquor stores will still be open. That's not for us to choose for you. We can help you learn so that you're making an informed choice. Right now, alcohol is choosing for you, and you deserve better. We all do. If you want to continue with us, we do have an ongoing program, and that's really about thriving when you are alcohol-free. And that's another conversation. That's another episode, maybe. But we are there to support our members who choose to remain alcohol-free and want to keep doing it with these awesome friends and pretty decent coaches. It's good stuff. Now, what can create some of these variations? Well, age. Age, our brain is most malleable when we're younger, but it's doable. So I was in my 40s when I stopped drinking. I was in my 30s when I developed a drinking problem. I was in my 40s when I stopped. And like I said, I don't really remember that version of me. I mean, I can remember, but it feels very, very different from how I am now. That's a good feeling. And so, yes, neuroplasticity is possible. There are other things you can do to support that. And those are other things we talk about during our coaching. It's really important to have that social support that lends itself to the neuroplasticity. I touched on that. Also, exercise. It's funny, so many of our members used to exercise a lot. Some of them still do, even with their drinking habit. But of course, when you're not drinking and you don't have hangovers, you have more energy. And so most of our members begin to engage in regular exercise. And that can be anything from walking the dog or just walking, listening to something, listening to nature, all the way through training for races, whatever it is they find that suits them. Usually it's somewhere in between, but they're consistent. They're consistent. That also is the key. Consistent, regular movement of your body. Research also shows that is a huge help with neuroplasticity and creating a sustainable, healthy lifestyle. We talk about healthy eating. When you stop drinking, you might want more sugar. I understand. But a cool thing about being with us is you do learn some hacks around nutrition. My background's in dietetics, exercise physiology. I studied dietetics in college. I'm an integrative nutritionist, and I taught Pilates for years and years. So it's part of who I am. So you'll see me posting some healthy recipes, some quick little go-tos to conquer some of those sugar cravings and things like that. Of course, if you follow James on social media, you know that he is a fitness nut, very inspiring, and he will also share lots of tips and tricks for supporting this new lifestyle. It's not a phase, not if you don't want it to be. So after hearing all that, it does kind of make sense, doesn't it? That doing this in a community matters. If stopping drinking were easy, everyone would stop drinking when they realize that it's an issue. Everyone would stop. They'd say, whoa, you know what? That's not working out. You don't see people who, I don't know, pick something, have an allergy to strawberries. They have a bad reaction when they eat strawberries, but damn it, they are determined to keep eating them and make them work in their life. They don't. If they say, whoa, I have a reaction to strawberries, what do? They stop because, yes, they taste delicious and sweet, but then the consequences are painful. Alcohol is different. It's a drug. If you have found that you're not stopping on your own, it's not you, it's the alcohol. It's society telling you that this is a drug that's expected to be used, but also telling you that there is something profoundly broken and wrong with you if you find yourself using too much. It's a lot. It's a lot to take on. That's where we come in. As you know, we offer a 15-minute discovery call. You can have a chat with us. We're not selling you anything. We're just having a conversation. Let's see if you're someone that fits with our program. Let's see if we fit with you. It's worth a try. Why do another dry December? Why do another New Year's resolution on your own? Did it work out last year? Do you think it will this one? Just go for it. Like I said, after 90 days, you can make whatever choice you want. but it will be an informed choice. Your brain will be in a better position to make a choice, to make a decision. Tell alcohol to stop choosing for you. I hope this was helpful. If you want some Coach V voodoo, some magic from James and Sarah, just kidding, it's not voodoo. If you want some real science-based support with a loving community of like-minded people, let's chat. Until next time, take good care and have an awesome day.